Alright, this is going to be a quick and dirty lesson on how to make a rain barrel from just materials you can get very cheap or even free. In this case, here's a typical one, one that I made. This was the first one I made. There's also another one down here. First thing I want to mention is that the barrel itself is something I just obtained from a car wash. Go to any car wash, and if they haven't thrown them away yet, they will have some of these just piled up somewhere. First of all, here is a barrel that actually hasn't been turned into a rain barrel yet. You're going to notice that at the top of the barrel it curves, and you'll notice it comes down to a narrow area and then widens once again. So what I did was I laid this on a table saw, and I'll show you how to do that here in a minute, and I cut at the narrowest part. So the cut just went around here. After I did that, I made another cut somewhat lower. Let's just say perhaps about here. I probably need to quit doing guesswork and try to find out exactly where that needs to be, but I cut there so that what happens is this part now will sit down into this part, and you'll see what I'm talking about on this one that's already been done. So the lid just kind of sits right down inside there. Alright, now you're going to have these two little openings here. You're going to want one that's going to be open for the rain barrel. So once again, it's going to look something like this, and you'll notice that it's got one of these flexible type rain gutter sections. Got it from Home Depot or Lowe's, don't remember which, and it just sits right on top of this hole. Now you'll also notice that I've got this little thing that actually we had in the house already. It used to have a little handle on it. I just cut it with a pair of scissors at the base here, and then just fit it on top of the hole. I'm trying to do this and hold the camera at the same time. Right like so, and then just fit that right on top. By the way, I cleaned out my gutters real well before I ever did this, because I didn't want a whole lot of debris coming down and clogging the rain barrel. Now we're going to talk about what you do down here. Once again, this is just one of these spigots you can get at any hardware store. It's threaded on the inside, and I believe there's no water in this barrel, so in a minute I'll open it up and you'll see the threads. And it's called a 3/4 inch spigot, but it's actually a 1 inch hole that you're going to want to drill. And when we look down here in the barrel, this is a PVC piece. Now it's threaded, the PVC was threaded the same size as the threads on the spigot, and I just simply put a little gasket, you can see it right there on that side, kind of a washer. I got that from the lawn and garden area. Same thing was done on this side, and then you just screw it on. Now I went ahead and put some cement around the threads, and then screwed it on and let that dry before I ever filled it up with water, or before I ever set it out to get any water in it. One thing I want to point out is that because this just fits anywhere, you can turn this to, you know, make it sit any way you want in relation to the faucet here. You'll also notice that this hose is going down a grade. It's kind of going down, so that whenever the one back here fills up, then we just go ahead and get this hose to go down into that one down there at the top of that, and it fills it up. As a matter of fact, you'll notice that it does have a little water in it right now. Now I decided to put this on the deck to kind of give it a little height, and I put it on some cinder blocks. Obviously you're going to have to realize that this thing's going to get awfully heavy, and wherever you put it, it's going to need to be able to support it. Well, now we're at the table saw, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do next. Alright, you're going to notice that I went ahead and raised the blade quite a bit And you'll also notice that I brought the guard back to a distance from the blade so that it's going to cut at that narrowest point, right like so. Obviously I'm going to have to cut from this side, and I'm not going to try to cut and video at the same time, but basically once you turn the saw on, you're just going to kind of go in stages. Cut a little bit, turn it. Cut a little bit, turn it. Cut a little bit, turn it. Cut, turn, and so forth till you get all the way around. Once you've made that cut, you're going to want to make another cut again at kind of a wide girth area so that the top will then fit down once again into the barrel. One last thing I'm going to point out, and I'm pointing this out at an area where I don't have a rain barrel. What I had to do was to take off a section of the gutter. And for instance, in this case, I would probably take it off right about here and then add that flexible piece coming down to into my rain barrel sitting somewhere down here. I found pretty much an ideal spot in the backyard. I thought about doing one here in the front. I just can't figure out the best place to do that. Here's another area in the front, and this might be a good spot to put one because I could then water a lot of these plants right here, which include some bushes and flowers and that sort of thing. So again, I'd just choose a spot to where I want to take off the gutter, add the flex piece, and put the rain barrel somewhere along here. This view gives you a better idea of the grade on the slant, the slope on the ground, because obviously if you're going to have the rain, the overflow coming from this rain barrel coming down to this one, it's going to need to be this one will need to be lower so that the water will drain, of course, down into it. And we do have a sprinkler system, but we're finding that we're not using it as much now. It's saving a little water, hopefully, a little bit of money. We also have some plants along the deck. There's some tomatoes growing in pots along the deck. Speaking of water, here's another water feature in our backyard. And here's our beautiful backyard.